fatal heart impacts, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty, hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now I am going to be re-recording this video. Because even though it's the last day of the year, it still decided to try and mess me over because audio problems, yay. Anyways, let us begin. Whenever we last left off, we had Izuki Midoriya and what her and her allies are planning. Now, we also went over the fall of All Might and how that pro hero died, along with a few others. Now then, with that being said, All Might, he also did pull out one of his hairs and put it in a glass container, giving it over to Principal Nezu, who would have to decide his successor for him, especially now that he is dead. But that was a month ago, or a month and a half, since we will be going over a small time skip of 2 weeks. Izuki training intensely and getting ready for the next encounter with that hulking beast. Now, with that being said, Izuki, she's been training non-stop and going on hours upon hours on end, trying to collect enough sweat for this mission. Along with that, she's also been using some of her blood and decided to give it to Hatsume, who could possibly filter it through the same way her body does to create her paralysis spit. Now, with that being said, it has been somewhat successful, and they do have a few more batches than they would like to admit of all these ingredients. Now, with that, we do actually have Izuki and her people, as she's standing proud in front of a few suits and combat robots. Now, she does go on telling her people about their plan. A few people are hearing about it. However, as soon as they do bring up that monster who threw a tank at them, a lot of people do want to walk away. However, Izuki, she gives a bit of a speech, talking about how they are not going to be forcing anyone to join them. However, their chances will increase greatly. They need people to operate these suits and help them restrain the monster long enough to inject it and keep it still. After that does happen, she's going to be trying to get inside of its head with this device, her holding it up and saying that they will find out exactly what happened to this person. And if it is true that it is on the AIM organization's side, then they will take it out swiftly. However, if this is indeed a runaway test subject, then they will help them. They will clean up this, AIM's problems, and then they will destroy the organization. Now, this is quite interesting, and a few people do actually begin to step up, as they all do get ready. Now, Hatsume does actually join them, and she actually is getting the parameters set for this neural link. Now, she basically does explain that Izuki needs to put it at the very back of their neck, the top of the brain stem, in order to stand the best chance. Now, eventually they do land at the base, And after being dropped off and heading inside the pit, the plane does go back to getting airborne. If this thing is destroyed, then their only chance of getting away is virtually gone, and they are sitting ducks. Quack. Now, anyways, with that being said, Izuki and her team do somewhat head in, and they do ask Hatsume how she is doing. Her explain that she has Izuki's parameters already set. However, they do need to get that thing. As soon as it is connected, she can actually piggyback off of their link and begin to learn more. Now, with that being said, Izuki, she does actually get ready. And she does go up to that giant door that is busted and broken. As she does begin to look into it, wondering if that creature is still here. As she simply does begin to knock on the wall. Nothing happens. To which she then actually does do one thing, pulling out her gun and firing it off into the tunnel. Now, after the shot does ring out for possibly miles, she does begin to hear giant footsteps. Her bringing up her right hand and shooting her grappling hook, moving directly up and then holding herself up against the wall, directly above the door. As soon as she does do that, the monster does come running out. And as soon as it does, Izuki, she simply does begin to fire away at the creature, with the tranquilizer darts directly into her back. Now, she's able to hit her target and somewhat pierce through the creature, as people with suits quickly do head in. Now, somebody is able to directly get in front of the creature as the two giant robots do fall off the ship or get ejected from it, immediately landing on both sides of the creature as the creature does go to throw up its hand and attack. Somebody hitting the creature in the back of the leg, and the creature falling that way, their swing being messed up, a robot grabbing it by its arm, and somebody actually grabbing the creature and trying to get it into a full Nelson, as another robot does grab the other arm, and people do jump towards the creature's legs, as Izuki and two other people do go running towards the creature, her jumping onto the person who's holding onto its back, and slamming the disc directly into their brainstem, as the two people in front who are trying to get ready with their part of the plan have to get very close. Now, as soon as they do get close enough, they begin to open fire with their weapons, shooting the creature full of tranquilizers, as it goes from shaking around somewhat violently and screaming a lot to actually slowing down, and eventually just stopping, as it looks way too tired to move. Now, this is still good, and Hatsume does actually ask how they are all going. Now, they state that they have it down for right now. However, they need to hurry this up, asking Hatsume how she's doing on her programming. Her talking about how she's at least almost done. Izuki needs to put on the device and head to a safe location, which she does actually do. Her heading up by 5 to 10 floors and sitting up against a wall, putting the device on and asking Hatsume just to tell her when, and if she believes that this is really the safest idea. Hatsume saying that she's not very sure, but it's the best one they got, finishing up her code and telling Izuki that she can press the button now. As soon as she does actually press the button on the side of the device, her hands immediately fall limp, and her head does actually go falling up against the wall. Now, that is whenever we do actually have Izuki. She was sitting up against a wall in a cold, dark, weird place. However, there's where she currently is. And she's sitting down in a chair. This is where Where am I? Her looking up and seeing what's happening, as she's supposed to get done with her makeup and head out on stage to dance. Now, this is quite surprising to her, as she simply does is get up out of the chair and run outside, joining the rest of her friends on stage as she's dancing. Now, they dance a perfect dance, and it's very strange. Izuki knows what this is. This is one of her memories. Now, it's very strange. Up until a point where she does begin to notice something. There are certain sounds. Through the music and everything, she hears something. And she feels her knuckles hurting. Until she finally decides to stop dancing. And everyone else just keeps going. Izuki noticing cracks. And being able to finally see through this fake memory. As it does somewhat begin to break. And Izuki, she's able to see what this actual memory was. What is laid over this one. What somebody put over her true memories. She's currently standing there in a uniform. And she has her hands both up. As she's getting ready to fight. Now, somebody does come towards her. And as soon as they do, they immediately throw out their left leg and then go to throw out their right. Izuki catching their left leg and catching their right leg. The person stalking Izuki directly in her face. As Izuki, she simply does just grab them and throw them back down towards the ground, climbing on top of them as they do go to bring up their arms and block, not dodge. Now, Izuki then watches, as she just begins to beat down into this person with her fist over and over again. As soon as that's not working, she actually does go to jab down into the ribs. And the person lowers their hands to try and defend their ribs before Izuki does go for the face. And for the eyes. Now, the instructor does order Izuki to stop, and she does. To which another opponent is brought onto the mat. And the woman in charge does tell Izuki that they are going to test her combat experience. She, so far, is the only candidate for their Black Widow. And she's perfect. Poison blood. And her sweat. Able to sting opponents and take them down. Truly, she is a predator among the prey. As somebody does rush towards her. And Izuki, she actually does rush towards them. Them going high while Izuki does go low. As soon as they go low, Izuki immediately smashes her hand directly into the front of their kneecap. And they fall forward screaming out in pain. Izuki then going over and beating her opponent. And she does actually watch. She knows who that girl was. She went missing. Oh God. Her then watching the rest of the fight. And the rest of the events happen of her true memory. She was supposed to fight as many people as she could. And her second fight, she killed that person. So, that's why they disappeared. Oh God. It was 6, 7 years ago. Her being to look around her mind and breaking through a lot of her old memories. Things she does somewhat remember. Her dreams. They were not dreams. They were her mind trying to break free. She isn't crazy. This giving her a bit of relief. She didn't go insane. She didn't go rogue. She knew what they were doing was wrong. Now, she begins to replay a whole lot of events in her life and find out that most of them are fake. As she does also replay an event that she's praying is not fake. She knows it might be, but there is a chance that it's real, right? Her, actually, someone just walking through a door, as it does actually show her sitting down in front of a birthday cake. And you do have her parents in front of her, along with Ivan leaning up against a wall as they are singing Happy Birthday in Russian. And Yuzuki, she is simply just looking at this memory, watching her 5-year-old self blow out the candle, and her parents cheering her on. As Izuki, she is trying to listen and trying to hold back the tears that are rolling down her face. Simply just waiting. Please don't let this be fake. Don't let this be fake. Now, eventually the memory does show its cracks. And Yuzuki, she actually does see how she truly spent her 5th birthday. As she is somewhat standing there, in her room, waiting for her parents to come back. And in a low and somewhat bad tone, she is singing herself a song. And she does have to listen. It's Happy Birthday. And no one's spending it with her. Now, this does somewhat cause her to break down. Up until she does have to try and pull herself together, remembering some of her training that actually did happen. Now, she does also begin to piece together what happened in the years leading up to her breaking free, and some memories that she doesn't want to remember. Now, she does eventually find a door. That doesn't make sense to her, and she tries to look at it. This doesn't look like anything she's seen before. I mean, sure, the handle's strange. Her opening it up. Now, as soon as the door does slide open, Izuki, she does actually walk in. And she does go back to looking down at her hands, confused. Her widow's gauntlets are gone, her suit's gone, and, well, she's wearing a shirt that has a tie on it. And then a skirt. That is very short. Yeah, if. Wait, this is a school uniform, isn't it? Yeah, not my style. Her looking up, and seeing Bakugo, being quite alarmed, looking around the room and seeing many different people, along with Mr. Aizawa. Now, she does see a blue-haired guy, a blonde-haired guy, a red-haired guy, and actually a few more people, along with the girl she saw at the USJ. And she actually does learn her name whenever Mr. Aizawa says Miss Yayorozu, and she basically just jumps up out of her chair and throws up her right hand, and go to try and answer his question. Now, she does find this to be quite odd. Momo, that's what the chick's name is? Okay. Well then, let's get this over with. Her walking over to Momo and trying to ask her a question, to which she doesn't even try to respond to. She seems to be trapped in a memory or a moment. Her repeatedly just jumping out of her chair and throwing up her hands, and repeating the same answer. Now, she does go to walk over to different people. All of the girls in class. And it's funny. None of them seem to be who she's looking for. Until she finally does set her eyes on a pink-haired girl, walking over and trying to actually get her attention. Now, she does find this to be quite strange. This girl, clearly she might be looking at her, whenever she does actually sit directly on her desk and look her dead in the eyes. The girl simply just turning to her friends and repeating the same lines over and over, before going back to where she was standing or sitting and resetting, going over to say it once again. Now, this is whenever Izuki she does actually pay attention, and her eyebrows do somewhat narrow, as she's simply just staring at this memory closely, before she does actually just bring up her hand and go to smack it across the face. Now, the very moment that her hand makes physical contact is whenever the memory does actually move along with her hand. And Mina, she actually does go moving backwards and falling out of a chair, along with the memory that she was hiding in, continuing on in the sequence. Now, Izuki, she actually does go to stand back up. Mina rubbing her face and asking exactly what was that for. Okay, so that's what I thought. Pretty clever. How did you know? I was trained to be a Russian spy, along with a super assassin. It's gonna take a lot more than that little clever trick to fool me. Who are you? Long story. Basically, I'm Bakugo's sister. Uh, Bakugo has a sister? Yeah. Adopted, basically. Parents are dead. It's a long story, actually. Okay, but before we continue, you got to be quiet. Why? Now, this is whenever things in the memory do begin to change. And all of a sudden, it gets really dark, as the lights begin to turn on. Mina grabbing Yuzuki by her wrist and pulling her away, telling her that they can't hide here anymore. Now, this is quite surprising, as soon as they do begin to start running, this is whenever Yuzuki does actually go to see it, as they burst through the door, and it has changed. They're in what looks to be a concrete facility, just like the ones that she was raised in. As Mina is simply just telling her not to get lost. They have to hide in another memory. Now, she just begins to start running, over and over, down the endless hallway. As she does actually find a door and rip it open. Izuki running in as she turns around and slams the door closed. And she does go to try and find anything that she can use to lock the door. Now, Izuki is looking around, and she does somewhat recognize the chair directly in front of her. Mina spinning around and realizing exactly what memory this is. Her somewhat flinching, and her eyes being full of pure fear, as she contemplates turning around and running back through the door. Now, Izuki does simply just ask her exactly what is this. She's seen this before. What? Wait, so I'm confused then. If you've seen this before, is this your memory or mine? In fact, how are you even here? Listen, I'm pretty sure you're the one we're fighting against out there. Out there? What do you mean? Um, well, okay. I'm in your head. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, what? Okay. We're in your mind. Both of us are linked through a technology, through a device I put on my head and put on the back of your neck. If that device is severed, we're going to be separated. And probably both die. So listen to me. Mina not feeling any better. In fact, she feels somewhat sick to her stomach. as she does continue talking, explaining that she's here to get her out of here. To which Mina does somewhat breathe a sigh of relief, before they both do actually turn to pay attention to the memory, and discover whose it truly is. Being a little bit more surprised, it's Mina's, as the man in the chair is repeatedly repeating numbers, letters, and words in a certain order to try and get Mina's attention. Now, anytime Mina does not respond to them, she is tased and zapped. And they do seem to just put something back over her face. And Mina does actually begin to look away, trying her best to stay calm. Izuki grabbing her by her wrist and telling her that they need to get out of here now. To which Momo goes on to explain that the monster won't let them out. She's been trying to get away for a long time. She doesn't even know what day it is. Izuki responding with, "It's been a long time," and that the USJ happened almost 5 months ago. This freaking Mina out. Almost 5 months ago? She's been stuck in here for 5 months? Now, that is quite insane. And she actually does ask Yuzuki how are they supposed to leave? To which they both do begin to try and brainstorm. Izuki talking about how she got here through a theater, and that if she had to guess, that is her doorway back. Your doorway? You mean we can both get out of here that way? Probably. But that's just the thing. I don't know how successful it would be. I don't know if there's still a door there. Okay. It could work. Okay. Now, this is whenever their conversation has been a bit too loud, and a fist does come through the door, it being red and has claws, as it goes to bend down and try and open the lock. Now, Izuki does actually go to fire off her wrist bracers, look down at her hand and her wrist and seeing that there's nothing there, as she grabs Muna by her hand and begins to run with her, as they both do jump out of the window, her exclaiming that she fucking hates these uniforms. Now, with that, they actually do jump into the wilderness, or something different. Now, Izuki is quite surprised whenever she is laying there with a rifle in her hand, and then she does actually look to her right, seeing Ivan, her quickly spinning and going to point the gun at him. As Ivan, he's still looking down the scope, and he does actually exclaim in Russian that she must not shoot. Now, Yuzuki does find this to be quite strange. She's seen this memory. Now, she does actually get onto her feet, and notice that she's back in a younger version of her body. Oh, come on! Now, she does actually grab the rifle, and begin to try and call out for Mina. Now, this is somewhat successful. Mina responding, and her running over and trying to find her. Now, the moment these two do actually find each other, it's somewhat good. However, Mina is confused as to why she looks like a little kid. Her talking about how they found one of her memories. Wait, so it can't come here then, right? I don't know. Oh, come on. So you're saying we're not going to be safe here? Yeah, probably. Anyways, we need to go now. Her grabbing the gun off of her shoulder and putting it in her hands, as she does actually make sure there is a round in the chamber. Now, the two do begin to walk, and try to find a way out of this memory. Now then, eventually that monster that was hunting them does arrive. However, with its red skin and a white landscape, it's quite easy to spot. Now, Izuki, she does actually see the monster, and it looks like a feral demon. And it does look somewhat like Mina. That much is at least noticeable, as she does actually go to look forwards, and through the scope of the rifle. And then, she does actually begin to fire the weapon, the bullet whisking through the air and actually shooting into the creature, as it does get hurt. Now, the very moment that Yuzuki does see blood, she does actually somewhat begin to smile, as she pulls out the round, or pulls back the firing pin, and the bullet flies out of the gun. It's burning through the cold snow, as she simply does just rack the next round into the chamber, and fire again, firing into the creature until her magazine is empty. And she does actually just begin to run in a direction, telling Mina that they need to leave now. Find a different memory. Try and think of something. Now, Mina does try and think of something, and eventually a door is in front of them, both of them opening it and running through. Now, with that being said, I do believe that this is a good point to leave off of, and I do hope you guys enjoyed. And I was hoping to get out 4 videos before 2020 was over, but I believe that I might have to only get out 3.